Let's talk about NinjaTrader's charting tools. In order to open a new chart, we're going to need to go to File, New, and then Chart. From there, we have our default instrument list, as well as the ability to pick from any one of the instruments that are available to us in NinjaTrader. I'm going to go ahead and choose the S&P December 2011 contract, and then from there I'm going to have this part of the screen activated. And these are all the settings for this S&P that I'm adding to the chart. First, you can base your price off of ask, bid, or last. Typically, people use last. Second, you can choose your chart type. There's several different types in NinjaTrader, including tick, volume, range, second, minute, day, week, month, year, kg, Rinko, point and figure, and line break, as well as the ability to make your own custom chart types or buy some from third-party vendors. I'm going to just use a 5-minute chart, and then I'm going to move on to my chart style. There's several different styles, including box, candlestick, high-low, line on close, and open high-low close. I'm just going to keep with candlestick and leave these settings like normal, but you can definitely customize these to whatever suits your needs. Then we have our data. I'm going to minimize these so we can focus on just that. On our data, we can load our days based on days, bars, or a custom range. A custom range allows you to select any starting date from any time in the past, and any end date. Bars allows you to choose as many bars as you want to go back. So you can do 150 bars or something that you'd like, and it would end on the end date that we currently have. And finally, we have days, where you can just simply load as many days back as you want. Then we have session templates. In NinjaTrader 7, Ninja has really done a good job of making these session templates clear. You can choose session templates from common exchanges, as well as do default 24/5, which would be just a business week, and default 24/7, which would be running all the time. The RTH and the ETH that you see are real-time or regular trading hours and electronic trading hours. I'm just going to pull up default 24/7. Then we have visual. There's several different things you can do, including you can keep the actual prices out of your data box, which is something that we go over in another video, and there should be a little annotation about right here where you can see that video. You can change the label of the chart. If you've got several open, sometimes it's smart to change the label, especially if you're doing a chart that has multiple data series, which we're about to go over. You can select which panel it's going to be placed in. This is good if you want to plot two indexes on the same chart. You can plot the session break line, which we won't really have because it's the 24/7, so it's just going to be at midnight every night. Price marker, that's going to be over on the side over here where you can actually see where the current price is at, and you can of course change that color. And finally, trades. When you place a trade, it's going to show up on this chart, and it's going to show when you close out of them whether they were profitable or unprofitable, and you can change how those look as well. And remember with all this that you can save it as a template, and you can load up whichever template that you want. As you can see here, I have several templates. So I'm going to go ahead and click OK and just open this chart, and you can see that I just have a bare bones simple chart plotting the S&P at 5 minutes. Now what I can do is I can draw on this chart with just about anything that I'd like, including chart markers, which are a new thing in NinjaTrader 7. So I could put an arrow up here saying I should have gone long there, which would have been awesome. I can do a ruler here, another new feature. You click at the bottom of one thing, click at the top of the trend, and then you can move this down so you can see exactly how many bars were in this trend, how much time was in the trend, and how much that it changed overall. This one was 20.75 points. You of course have all the regular drawing tools such as Fibonacci, Andrews pitchfork, regression channels, as well as the ellipse and rectangles and charts, and ellipse, rectangles, and triangles and text that you can put on charts. There's also this snap mode, which allows you to snap to a bar, a price, or bar and price, which is basically when you draw something such as a line and you click, it's going to automatically snap to the open, high, lower, close, or if you chose bar, just the open and close, or if you chose price, just the OHLC. And this varies depending on what type of chart you have. From there, let's go over the different chart types. There's a new one in NinjaTrader 7 called Box. You click it and it just does the high-low in a candlestick form. So there are no wicks, and you just see the high and low. There's also, of course, high-low, which is a lot like Box, but it's just going to be a line showing each one with a bit of spacing in between. Line on close is just going to plot your line on close, of course. OHLC we're all familiar with. And you can increase your bar width if this isn't clear enough for you, and decrease it. And you can also quickly change your chart type from right here. So if I want to go to 30-minute, I can do that. I can change to a daily chart. I can go back to 2 minutes, 5 minutes, things like that. There's also the data box, which we have a video on, and when you change to a crosshair, you can actually see all the values at that specified bar. Now this is all pretty standard issue stuff, except for a few of the new drawing tools, but what we can do with Ninja is add another instrument. So what we're going to do is right click and go to Data Series, and we're going to add the NASDAQ. Let's say we're a spread trader. I'm going to put this on 5 minutes as well, and I'm going to load back 365 days for this and do default 24/7 so my sessions match. And here it says panel, new panel, or I can choose to put it on the same panel as S&P. I'm going to do new panel first, and then we're going to go over the same panel. So it's going to load my new data, and it's going to be at the same time as these other ones. As soon as it loads, here we go. So if we're a spread trader, this is good, but this isn't quite as helpful as it could be. What would be nice is if we could go to our data series, we could take this NASDAQ and we could put it on the same thing as our S&P so we can see the difference between the two. And we can. I'm going to put it on one here, and you're going to see it go on there, but it's going to look kind of ugly. And that's because the price has such a difference. To fix that, let's go back to data series. Let's choose our NASDAQ again, and this time we're going to plot its price values on the left-hand side over here so that they both get roughly equal. Now what I'm going to do is find where that is, and it should be scale justification. I'm going to do left-hand side. And now you can see that they're plotting over one another. With candlesticks it's kind of hard to tell. So what we should do is go back and we'll do line on close for both of these, and we'll change the color of one of them to, let's just do red. S&P is going to be red, NASDAQ is going to be, let's do blue. And now we can see an actual spread developing between these guys. So this is really helpful for when you're spread trading. You can see right where they cross over and where they don't. And it's going to adjust as you go. So that's one really great new feature that the charting allows. Finally, if I were to open another chart and I wanted to compare between, let's say, the Russell here, we'll go to 5 minutes, load 365 days again, and I'll do default 24/7 one more time, if I can find it here. And I'm going to put him on the left side, and I'll open up my previous one, him on this side. And let's say that we're going through these and we want to quickly compare what the price was at each. Well, what we can do is choose a global crosshair. We do that on each one, and every chart that has a global crosshair is going to follow with each other. So if you look on the left hand side, I'm moving my mouse on this TF chart over here, but you can see that it's also changing on that side. And as I scroll back, it's going to automatically scroll that chart as well. So if I click here, it's going to change as well, and it's going to automatically go with it. Now the only problem that you see here is, of course, that the Russell is trading at 726 and these are trading in the high thousands. So the problem is we're not going to have our actual line going across that says where it is on the price side. But it does give us a good idea, and with the data box open, it'll really help. as we go over, you can see that we have it for both. Now with charting, we also have a wide array of indicators that we have access to. Some overlay on the chart, some go on the bottom, and we can also have a lot of custom indicators. I'm just going to put on a few here. I right clicked and I went to indicators, and I'm just going to do a few ones that you may not know about. I'll add the Heikin Ashi. We'll add a custom indicator that I have created, and we will add this candlestick pattern, which is going to automatically look on the chart, going back for as much data as we have, and look for a certain candlestick pattern. And you can specify which one you want. I'm going to do doji because that one shows up a lot so you can actually see. And you can change the color that it actually changes the bar. So if we find a doji, let's change the color of the bar to Dodger Blue. I'll click OK, and it's going to run through and put all these indicators on the chart itself. The thing with the candlestick pattern, it takes a second to load because it looks through all of the chart and lets you know. Now, one thing to note with the doji one is that it's plotting on the chart itself, and sometimes you'll get this scaled view that we have currently. To fix that, all you have to do is go to doji here, and you can say, let me just change this real quick. This color here is actually for this line down here, which shows the actual pattern so you can use it programmatically. So we want it to be transparent so it doesn't show on the chart. Once we have that added, we should see the Heikin Ashi and the doji lines. And I believe I have one last thing I have to fix, and that's on my own custom indicator. It's a little wonky. I'm going to change this to transparent as well. And with that, we should have our chart looking like we want it to look. And there are several indicators throughout here. There's more than 100 that come bundled with Ninja, and there's all kinds of third-party vendors that you can find that also have them. So what Heikin Ashi did was change the colors of our bars according to a trend, and not exactly based on whether they were just up or down. Mine, of course, is plotting these lines, and doji is telling us where there was a doji. So here there was a doji, here there was a doji. Now the thing with Heikin Ashi is it modifies these candlesticks so it doesn't look like it actually found a doji. Let me go here, remove Heikin Ashi, and you'll see that those actually were dojis. And now you can see that where it was plotting doji, those actually are dojis. You can see some of them are a little bit of a hammer, some are shooting stars, but those are dojis in fact. So this has been a slight overview of the charting tools. If you want to learn about the drawing tools that NinjaTrader offers and go in more depth, please click here. If you'd like to learn about the different chart types that NinjaTrader offers, please click here. Otherwise, click here to go back and explore NinjaTrader's other features.